Okay, hey guys, AnimeWestReacts here. Gonna be reacting to One Piece chapter 1152, An Awful Day. So yeah, starting off, continuing Yamato's cover story, we got the Yokozuna who got beat up in the back. And so it says, delivery complete, Kawamatsu Daimyo of Hakumai receives Otama's hat. And so yeah, we see Ulti in page 1. Ooh, but alright. Let's hurry to the lift. Abnormal hockey emanates from the realm of the sun. And so yeah, so let's hurry to the lift. Gerd will leave the sack of filth in your care. She says, got it. It says, Rhodes says, be careful. Or Gerd, I guess, says, be careful. Rhodes says, I shall dedicate all my might to this Gerd Tasso. It says, hurry and move it. Goldberg saying, let's get going. Chopper says, I better stay too, Luffy. Yasan's wounds are too severe. We can't move him yet. So yeah, Luffy says, got it. I'll leave it to you. He says, hey, Straw Hat Luffy, be mindful of the way you use Conqueror's Hockey. Those guys are by no means immortal. And Luffy says, thanks. You can count on me. I'll save Khan and his friends no matter what. It says, Gabon, that just made it click for me. I wasn't able to put it into words before, but my own power. I'm the only one left who's faced these knights before. I know I can beat them. Free me and take me with you, Harden. And Harden says, you fighting for Elbath. Like I'd ever take you with us. And then Gabon says, there's another in your group who can use Conqueror's Hockey. It's not just like, is it me? I knew it. With how things were going, Masa and Jinbei were about to assert me. And then Gabon just says, you there, swordsman, your body seems to be growing accustomed to it. And Zoro's like, I have Conqueror's Hockey? And Luffy's like, what? You didn't know. It's been oozing off you. And so yeah, Gabon says, how absurd. Hockey is a power that must be understood and tamed. Your captain is one of the 4 emperors. You should be meticulous if you intend to have his back. And Zoro's like, my bad? My bad. And Sanji's like, hey, old man, what about me? And then Loki yells, Harden, you're pathetic. You'd rather sit back and let these outsiders save our homeland. I'm right here. Use me. And then Harden says, who's to say you won't side with the government? You could easily stab Elbaf in the back again. And he says, just like you did on that day, how can you expect me to trust you? And they say, Harden, hurry. We can't let the casualties pile up anymore. And then Levi says, hey, look. And he says, he tells Loki, join my crew. He says, if he does, then you can't complain if I free him, right, Harden? And Zoro's like, get real, Luffy. There's no way we'd fit him on the ship. And Sanji's like, yeah, think of the food supplies. He eats even more than you do. And Luffy's like, Elbaf doesn't seem to want him, but he seems okay to me. Besides, if he tries anything, I can always beat him up. And Loki yells, don't mess with me, you runt. There's no way I'm becoming your underling. And Harden says, you're going off your gut, huh, Straw Hat? And Luffy says, I can't wait to see how he fights. And so yeah, the others are yelling, Harden, what are you doing? The lift's ready to go. And he says, I'm coming. I'm coming now. He says, sorry, Straw Hat. Loki is a condemned criminal in Elbaf. I can't just hand him over to you. And he's like, really? And then, yeah. Gabon says, Harden. And then Gabon says, release Loki. And he says, what was that, Yasan? He says, 14 years ago, Loki murdered 113 members of the castle guard. He left Elder Jarl on the brink of death, killed his own father in cold blood. He's the worst criminal our history has ever known. He says, I know, but on that day I felt a strange emanation of hockey coming from Oust Castle. Shanks and I went there to investigate. looking back, it's possible we didn't have the whole story. And then, yeah, they say, you went to the castle. Hardin's like, what the? And then Levi's like, wait, did you just say Shanks? And he says, Stanson, I'm sorry, go ahead without me. And then, yeah, Levi says, Zoro, Sanji, I'll catch up in a bit. Yeah. Zoro's like, this dumb Shanks thing again. And then Levi's like, hey, don't call Shanks dumb. And then Sanji says, he means you're the dumb one. And Loki said, goodbye. And he says, you have 3 minutes to explain, Loki. Tell me what happened in the castle 14 years ago. If you truly consider yourself a warrior of Elbaf, swear on our gods that what you say is the truth. And Loki's like, that's cruel, brother. You really want me to relive that day? He says, I don't want to remember it. And then he says, it was an awful day. And he says, look up in the sky. Or someone says, look up in the sky. And it says, 14 years ago, Elbaf West Castle? West Castle? Something like that. And he's laughing. It's like, it's why it's Loki. Prince Loki has returned. This Elder Jarl just arrived too. And he says, he summoned you too, Loki. Something like that. It's my family's home, you know. He says, you seem well, old man. You haven't grown sick of life yet. He says, quiet you. They say, the king is in the audience chamber. And Loki's like, I wonder what he wants. It's hard to care about the whims of a government dog. It says he sold out the people sold out to the people who killed Rocks. If that's the direction Elbaf's heading, then I'll oppose it. And then Jarl says, you're being loud. I'm too old for this stuff. Politics is a young man's game. It says, we're in this mess because you keep spouting that kind of nonsense. Now we've got a whole generation of peace-addled brats who can't even hold a weapon. And Jarl says, that's just a sign of the times. It's nice to know that my great-great-grandchildren won't see combat, they want peace. And Loki says, coward, it's your duty to whip them into shape. And they say, what's that sound? It's coming from the throne room. It says, thank you for coming, Elder Jarl. Loki, I mean, young master, it's a pleasure to have you back. And Loki's like, of course. And it says, well, let me just consult with the king. He summoned me, and this is my home. And Loki says, open up, idiot, as he kicks the guard, saying, they say, young master, violence is. And Loki says, old man, I'm back. And they say, your majesty, what? So yeah, we see Jarl has been just skewered by his soldiers. And so yeah, Jarl says, Harold, and says, what the hell are you doing? So yeah, they just like bringing him through in multiple directions from the look of it. So, realm of the sun, Gabon's house. What a staggering view. And he says, this is the best. He's right. So we got Shanks and Gabon in the bath. Shanks saying, or Gabon says, it's been quite a while since we shared a bath. How long has it been? 3, maybe 4 years? Shanks says, get real. It's been 10 years since the captain died. So Gabon says, that long, huh? That must feel like forever ago to you, huh? Shanks says, yeah. Life's completely changed. Honestly, I just wanted to be a carefree pirate with Buggy. Still, Elbaf, there's some things I'd like to know. Gabon says, understandable. You were a child of destiny, but let's not dwell on tricky topics today, Shanks. Say, remember Little Garden Island where we met Dory and Brogy? And says, of course. And then Ripley says, hot enough, Yasan Shankun? And then, yeah, he's like, whoa, you scared me, Shankun. And, yeah, Gabon just laughs, says, this is great, Ripley. Thanks, Ripley. She says, he says, the spot's really the best. And says, so this is what a human giant household is like. And she says, have some lingonberry tart and help yourself to drinks. And it says, Shankin, got any juicy old stories about Yasan? He's like, Shanks is like, about Gibbonson. Oh, I've got one. Anytime we made the port where there were who knows how many, and then, yeah, Shanks is like getting his cheek pulled. He's like, ouch. He's like, you brat, if you want to make it out of this country alive, you'll zip it. And he says, do you know Harold? He's the king of Elbaf. The people think of him like a god. And then Shake says, yeah, I met him at Maryjoa. We got along all right. We couldn't speak freely in the Holy Land. Now that we're both in this country, I really want to talk to him before it's too late. It says, that day the massacre at the castle took place. Elbaf's most beloved king, Harold the Benevolent, lost his life. And yeah, they say, what's this? Let us out. Who closed the gate? Help. And then, yeah, we see Jarl getting the sword through his head. And then someone in a room says, this is the forbidden devil fruit passed down within Elbaf. This is, but just how did this man come to be so highly regarded by his people? A long time ago, 109 years before the present day, if you ask anything what the scariest thing on the sea is, the answer would always be the same. The giant warrior pirates. That's how things were in that area. In that age, even ships from the land of giants invoked immense fear due to Elbaf's reputation. So it's a giant ship, and someone says, I heard there's a beautiful princess in your castle. Let me have a peek. And someone says, he was one of the reasons for said reputation. He's like, whoops, my foot slipped. And they say, Your Majesty, please stop this. It's King Harold of Warland Elbaf. So yeah, he kicked one of his men into the castle. It says, Harold began his reign at 45 years of age, just 15 in human terms. Despite this, King Harold, remarkably enough, was pure scum. He's laughing, saying, Go tell me who your god is. The untold story of Elbaf's renowned ruler. So, yeah, hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you do, pretty good chapter. But yeah, leave a like on it, sub the channel, hit that notification bell, and I'll see y'all next time, I think. Yeah, yep. See y'all next week. There's no break. So,